Welcome to the Indian Newsling podcast by Praneeta Mahajan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Indian Newsling podcast. I wanted to talk about cyberbullying today, and I wanted to talk more importantly about how to keep our young minds safe when they're online, how to create responsible digital citizens who are going to represent us in the future, because cyberbullying, as all of us must be knowing by now, is becoming a menace, and it's just more prevalent in the youth because they are online more often. They interact with each other a lot more than us, and there has actually been a research recently which showed that 90% of teenagers interact more online than in real life. So they say less words in their everyday basis verbally, and they communicate more online. So with the advances in technology, of course, it's become so integrated in our everyday lives that we cannot do without being online. So it's no longer a choice. It's basically a way of life, and with that come a lot of online dangers, a lot of risk, and cyberbullying is one of them. We've seen recently there has been a lot of harassment, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of negativity that is spread. There are a lot of so-called keyboard warriors who fight out every battle, and they would have no matter what the information is, no matter what the message is, you would still find some people trolling, you would find people, and that's not just reserved to celebrities, that's not just reserved to our politicians, that's happening everyday basis. It is happening now to high school kids. And now, as a parent, and I'm a parent, so I know that every parent worries about keeping their kids safe. And when you don't know the digital world and you don't know the interactions the kids are having, it becomes very difficult to protect the kids from that abuse or from that harassment online. So we thought we'll put a few ideas together and try to make a roadmap to safety. We would try to just share some of our ideas and see if that helps anybody out there who's looking for answers. So as a parent, I think the first thing that you can do is monitor what your kids are doing online. So just keep an eye, have a chat with them every now and then. Of course, make sure that you don't invade their privacy. Make sure that they have their own freedom, and you don't have to spy on them all the time. But it's a good idea to keep an eye every now and then as to what they're doing online. And if you notice that they are being bullied, then the next step, a very crucial step, is to report it. If you notice that your kids or some of their friends are bullying someone, then education and communication is very important. Keep those lines of communication open with your teenagers, especially. Make sure that they're more comfortable discussing things with you rather than anybody online. Make sure that they're talking to you. Make sure they tell you about their day. They tell you about their friends. They tell you about everyday happenings in their life, because once that happens, it becomes a lot easier for you to identify any potential harm or any potential issues, and it'll be very easy to address them accordingly. Now, communication again is very important when it comes to educating your kids, because we need to make sure that the kids understand the impact of every action that they would do online. So we need to teach them how to be digitally responsible. We need to tell them about keeping, maintaining their privacy online, not sharing too many details, not sharing, their location all the time, not sharing what they're doing or who they're with, or, their personal information online. And all this is very important to keep you safe, and also very important when it comes to cyberbullying, because if someone cannot track you all the time, you get some peace and quiet, and that keeps you safe. That's another thing. Now, the next thing that you can do with your kids, again, communication would be key even in this point. It would be boundaries. So you need to set some limits, you need to set some rules in your own families as to what is the amount of time these kids are spending online, what is the amount of time your teenager is spending in online activities and interactions with his or her peers. You need to make sure that they're visiting, and again, restricting certain websites, or maybe even limiting time on social media platforms, because those boundaries would help them. It would help them disconnect and then go back to it, because if the more time they spend online, the more prominent or the more influential that one medium of communication becomes. So if we have those boundaries, if we limit that time or the amount of time that they spend online, we can make sure that they disconnect when they have to. So they can go out, they can interact, they can do their exercises, they can play a sport. And that time when they disconnect is where they would realize through their own experience that it does not really matter that much, and you can always take a break from your online life or from your social media life, because they're still teenagers, they're still figuring out their emotions, they're still figuring out their life and the relationship with their friends and their peers. So we need to tell them that it's okay to take a break every now and then for your own well-being. And that's again something that parents can do, and they can set a perfect example. Again, parents can be good role models to these teenagers. You can practice responsible citizenship yourself, which means that you can be respectful online. Please don't engage in negative comments, negative conversations. Encourage dialogue again with the teenagers. Tell them when you notice something being said online or something mentioned, tell them how it's not appropriate, tell them why you don't agree with it, and show them how to conduct yourself. I think it's a very important thing to do. Next thing I think, which again is very important, is once something like this does happen, if you do notice someone, I think fostering resilience in your teenagers is very important. Now, what you need to do is, you cannot be around all the time, you cannot monitor every activity in their day, but what you can do is you can equip them better to deal with the social impact of these comments or these activities that they might face or they might witness a friend facing. Building those skills, or giving them or empowering them with the strategies to deal with these difficult situations, will do wonders for your teenager. You will give them the support system that they would need, and they would be much better equipped, they would be independent in dealing with such situations. So I think fostering resilience is a very important point. And also, like, you'll have to understand that it would be a continuous process. You would have to keep those communication lines open. You would have to have constant engagement, keep talking, keep informed. You have to stay informed about all the latest apps and technologies and trends that these teenagers are using, so that you can make sure that they're safe to use. Keep yourself updated, make sure that you talk to your kids, make sure that there are no long-lasting effects on their well-being. They know how to deal with these situations, and they're equipped to help whoever is going through a situation like that. On that note, thank you so much for listening. We're going to talk really soon with another topic that is close to us and that matters. So have a great day ahead, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Indian Newsling podcast by Praneeta Mahajan.